Hello, it's Gray.
Hello, it's Crystal.
And this is Basta Asian Beauties, a supernatural commentary podcast where I, someone who has seen this show many, many times.
And I, someone who only knows the show through social media, discuss every single episode of Supernatural from start to finish. Also, we're both Asian.
Both Asian. For today's episode, we will be discussing Season 5, Episode 13. The Song Remains the Same. Written by Sarah Gamble and Nancy Weiner, directed by Steve Boyum. Hello, everyone. We're back.
I mean, we there won't actually have been a pause if we release this on Friday.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like, the pause was the last one.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, like, Crystal watched this episode, like, a month ago.
Yeah, and I did not rewatch it. I mean, in my notes, I appear to have been excited about it, so...
Really? I have the opposite reaction. I just was not enthused the entire episode. But when I mean, we'll talk about it. Towards the end, when Michael comes in, I was really into it. I think what it is that this episode is a central episode to Supernatural. I think, like the entirety of Supernatural, right?
Yeah.
It just is so, like, oversaturated in my head. I remember so much of it, so it's more difficult to enjoy. Also, it's like, I feel like it's spaced weird. Like, it doesn't really have room to breathe because they're trying to do so much in the episode.
Yeah, like, why was Uriel there for 2 seconds and then, like, never again? Like, he should have been the main character if you were gonna have him here.
No, really, like, the entire time I was like, well, Uriel's here, and for what? Like, you're not giving him anything fun or interesting to do. I did enjoy seeing him. Like, when he showed up, I was like, yay, Uriel! But that was it. Pretty much.
I mean, and like the amount of time he was on screen was the amount of time it takes to say "Yay, hi, Uriel."
Yeah.
So.
Anna's arc finishes this episode.
Yeah, it's very sad that this is where she dies forever.
Yeah, and it makes me sad sometimes, like when they have a good or like a character that I like, and they don't do a good send off. You know, like
it
makes me a bit sad. And I feel like she got the bad end of the stick in terms of quality of send-off, really.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of murdered her writing, like, 2 episodes after she appeared. Like, she has been smothered to death slowly over the course of a season.
Yeah. Sorry, Anna.
Sorry, Anna.
As I said, I really did enjoy the Michael parts.
Michael was whatever to me.
I would say it was the only part of the episode that surprised me because I forgot it. I forgot it. I forgot that Michael is here.
There? How did you think Anna died?
I don't know. She just got killed. Whatever. Like, she got stabbed. I don't know. I don't know.
Sam's first angel kill is Miriam in season 13.
I know. And Dean wouldn't have done it or would have, and I would have remembered. Yeah. I for some reason thought it was Mary.
Had done it,
I thought like the entire time.
You think the Anna Mary shippers wouldn't be talking about that like all the time?
I thought they already were.
Like
I thought they already were.
You just made a post in your head.
I invented a situation in my head where Anna is killed by Mary. So there we go.
All right.
I suppose the question in my head then would have been like, well, how did Mary then forget? But, you know, I wasn't asking. I just completely forgot that Michael was going to be here. And, like, you know, we have that conversation with John before, and I was like, this is so corny, tired, and played out. Like, we get it. Like, John would hate himself if he saw himself in the future, whatever. But, like, when you know, Michael showed up. Also, did you feel like the John actor was, like, not good?
He was kind of cringe and fail, I think.
He sounds like, you know, when you watch a production of Shakespeare by high schoolers and they haven't really gotten the, like, rhythm of it or whatever. Mm-hmm. He sounds like that, which is, like, funny because it's not Shakespeare. It's normal speak. So, yeah.
Yeah, it just sort of looks like he's, like, thinking really hard about what facial expression to make before he makes it.
This guy's beloved by the fandom, I think, or maybe not. I'm not sure.
I think people think he's hot, which I guess, like, fair, you can live your life. Well, Sastiel is so real is one of the big takeaways from this episode. Like,
you know what?
It is actually real, though.
Yeah. Well, first we have the team preview we'll see in this episode. We also have the You're Okay with Sam that is in the wonderful My Chinchilla AMV, of course.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we also have Cass telling Anna, like, that she
will
can't
not
kill
Sam
because
yeah.
he's my friend.
He's my friend! He's my friend. Ugh, okay, well, what did you know about this episode before going in?
That Anna appears in Dean's sex stream looking so cool, and then she goes back in time to kill Mary, so Sam is never born, so Lucifer can't possess him. And then John's like a nice guy who works as a mechanic or whatever, and Anna pretends to be his boss and call him. And then this time Mary learns who Sam and Dean are, and she's very heartbroken over the idea that her kids became hunters. And then Anna and Mary have a gay sex fight scene, and then Michael possesses John and kills Anna.
This was really the Anna and Mary have gay sex at the Straight Pride Parade episode.
It really, really was.
We start with Dean having a dream. And he's having a dream.
So corny, tired, played out.
It is. You know what? Like, there is like a scale of like Dean misogyny where I'm like, it's a product of its time, and then like I hate Dean Winchester so much we need to kill him, and then like, dude, you're just writing shit now, like you're just inventing misogynies now. Whatever.
I don't know. This just I don't know why I guess Sarah Gamble and Nancy Weiner thought it would be a cool intro for Anna, which is true, but like I don't get it. Like, is this a parody of something? Like, do people actually feel, like, turned on by, like, the most corny, tired, played out things in the world? I don't get it.
I thought you were gonna ask, like, do people actually get turned on by, like, Angel and Devil, blah, blah, blah. And let me tell you, Crystal.
Aziraphale and Crowley need to fuck Raw on live television.
In the street. Exactly. The dream is like there's two women who are dancing
to Cherry Pie. Like
the Cherry Pie.
Songs.
Yeah. It's so corny. I just feel like it's so in your face.
To the angel demon bullshit, like you should play a song that mentions angels or demons and not just Cherry Pie.
Yeah. And it's not even like, it's not plural. It's not they're my cherry pies. Like, it's just one girl. That's so stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever said. Let's move on. Anyway. So, yeah. Angel demon attire, whatever.
Yeah.
Dean's watching. Dean's having a good time.
Kind of like Jess, but I don't think that's on purpose. I think maybe blonde women look similar to me when their hair is similarly wavy.
Anna shows up. Dean is like, oh, Anna. And he's, very uncomfortable. He's like kind of ashamed, I guess. And Anna is like, this is what you dream about. Dean's like, wiry in my head. Anna reveals to Dean that like Cass was responsible for putting her in jail, in heaven jail. She's like, we need to meet up. And so they do.
Am I like crazy there were moments during this episode when I liked Dean Anna like as a ship. Like did you feel that in any way, or is it just me? I think that the speed at which Dean offers her help, like in the middle of one of her sentences, is nice.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. When he was like, oh, you can't find me because Cass did the sigil. Like, I feel like that is like such a show of trust, I feel. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There is no situation in Dean's head where Anna is doing something bad or evil or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So we go to the warehouse where Anna has directed Dean, and there's a sound, and then light bulbs explode because it's Cass.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so dramatic.
You know, you can say many things about Supernatural, and you really can. But, like, the way they do the visuals with the angels at the beginning really was something.
Yeah,
You know,
and then they stopped
I really
trying.
do commend them for it. And then they stopped doing it, which, you know, well, Supernatural's a terrible show.
Yeah.
I think a part of it is, like, maybe that's why I really don't like this episode. Because Supernatural is a terrible show.
Uh-huh.
Like, when they try to do, like, a good episode or whatever, I'm like, this is so corny, you guys. Like, I know what you are, Supernatural, and you're not a show that does a good episode, so get it together.
Yeah. And I guess this is their first time seeing each other since Big Betrayal, and both of them are very aware of this.
Yeah.
Anna takes Cass showing up alone as the Winchesters not trusting her, and Cass says that, like, they do, but he wouldn't let them come. Which, it is nice that Dean trusts Anna this much. I think it is nice. Cass is suspicious because he thinks that if Anna's out of prison, it's like she couldn't have escaped on her own. Like, heaven had to have sent her out to do something. Anna brings up how, I guess, okay, if you care about Cass, which I guess I said I did in the past, he says that the reason that he's sure about this is because he's experienced heaven's persuasion before, which we will learn about more in season 8. And then...
Oh, yeah, that's what it's referring to.
Yeah. And Anna goes, "You mean when you gave me to them?" And Cass goes, "That was a mistake." Which is
Sally.
one way to say sorry, I guess.
Sally.
Sally, whoopsies. He didn't even try to, like, help her after he, like, got good.
I know. He was like, oops, my bad, and then proceeded with his life.
Yeah, like, what, like, was he just not thinking about it? Like, did he have other things on his mind, or was he just like,
well,
I feel really bad about it, so I just am going to repress it?
Well, he seems to have other things going on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, at some point when you're like, okay, the God search is not really turning up, let's just do something else for a while. Like, you could have just gotten Anna out in that while.
Yeah, like, he never got bored. Like, come on. But yeah, I guess he thought that it would be impossible for her to break out solo, so maybe he just considered it a lost cause. Anna maintains that she escaped. Cass doesn't believe her, and she goes, "All these centuries and you're underestimating me now," which is a nice reminder of how she was, like, 100% his boss for, like, centuries and centuries. You think she was a bad boss? Do you think that's why Cass betrayed her? Well,
She's like the boss who's like too serious, like too into it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Anna is the boss where she's like, if I'm doing something, you also need to be doing something. If I am giving my 100%, you should be giving your 110. And Cass is like, dude,
Yeah.
let's calm the fuck down. So
Yeah. And
now they're
then
here.
she gave her 0% and ditched. Good for her. Anna says that she wants to help. And Cass goes, "Then what are you doing with that knife? Iconic!"
And they have a knife off. Like,
Yeah.
like Anna has a knife, and then Cass has a knife as well. It's so fun.
Yeah, because Anna says that the knife is for self-defense, and Cass is like, "Well, that knife won't kill angels, unlike this one." And then he brings out his own knife. God, they need to do wrestling. He's like, "You're not telling me something," and she says, "Sam Winchester has to die." So fucking true, baby. You know what's so sick and twisted is that throughout this entire episode, like, Sam and Dean come to the conclusion, the same one that Anna does, and they're still like, she's so evil for this. Like, I don't get it. Like, they were going to have Mary not, like, birth them. Like, that is the same thing, though. It is. Like, not
Yeah.
exactly, but like, to like, for them, their existences would end abruptly at that moment, which would be the same if Anna just killed. Anna would only kill Sam. She wouldn't also kill Dean. Like, in terms of their experiences, like, yeah.
What it is like she wants to kill Mary.
Yeah,
So,
but okay. If Sam was just like, it's fine, just kill me now, which, like, he was fine with also, basically. Like, she wouldn't have, like, killed Mary. She would have been like, okay, thanks, Sam, and then killed him.
yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Like, the killing Mary was a plan B.
Yeah, it was like, I don't think I won't be able to kill Sam Winchester directly because Cass is, like, in love with that guy or something, so. She explains that Sam's, like, the only vessel that matters for Lucifer, and as long as she kills him, it's over. No apocalypse. She'll scatter his cells across the universe so that Lucifer can't put him back together. So fun. And Cass turns away, and he goes, "We'll find another way." Okay, but then Anna replies, "How's that going?" So, like, he doesn't mean we as in him and Anna. He means, like, Team Free Will or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Not nice. Like, Anna's got a great idea. Like, she can bring a lot to the table. Like, welcome her onto the team.
Well, I feel like if two members of your team want to kill each other, you just have to get rid of one.
Like, and the two who want to kill each other are who?
Well, one of them want to kill the other, which is,
And
you know,
Sam's fine
Anna
with
and
it.
Sam.
It seems like a perfect team. And Anna's like, well, all of your plans are failing so hard and so raw. And Cass goes, the answer's still no, because Sam is my friend. Celestial real, but also get over yourself. Anna goes, you've changed. And Cass goes, maybe too late, but I have. And yeah, by too late, this is another apology to Anna before he threatens to kill her, right? Like, that's something. And I guess he's probably also apologizing for, like, shrugging her off, like, in Head of a Pin, and all the other times she was like, come with me, and let's do free will together. So, yeah. And now they will never do free will together. And then Cass, who's also so corny, tired, and played out, literally reuses his "we've been through much together" from 422. He goes, Anna, we've been through much together, but you come near Sam Winchester, and I'll kill you. Like,
at least it's true this time.
Has one line. What?
At least it's true this time. Like, him and Dean went through nothing.
That's
so,
true.
Like,
he and Anna did go through much together.
Exactly.
Yeah. She disappears. Gasp.
Anna, like, ends up in this place where she lands at the hood of a car. Yeah, she's, like, bloody. Like, her mouth's bloody. And there are two people who are in the car, like, rush out to get her. And then we see, like, a poster of Grease. So it's Grease time. It's June 16, 1978 is what it is. Cass is now with Sam and Dean in their motel room. And, yeah, like, Cass is informing them about what happened. And Dean's like, well, I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dean makes a reference. And he goes, like, oh, she's gone all Glenn Close, huh? And Cass looks at him and just goes, who's Glenn Close? And then, you know, the conversation keeps going. And Sam's like, okay, but, like, if she does kill me, would it actually work?
Yeah, she's literally fine with it. And I feel like he's more fine with it because this is right after Swap Meet when, like, it could have been so bad so fast, like, without even any planning.
Sam asked, like, what do you think, Cass? Does Anna have a point? And Cass goes, no, she's Glenn Close, which I did find adorable.
Yeah, it is
I
cute.
also
He's a fucking
it
liar,
is,
though. Yeah.
yeah, and like it is fascinating to me. Like I don't know, like Dean convinced Cass by way of being like, it's about the people and the greater good. There's a right and a wrong here, stuff
And
like
then
that.
Cass was immediately like, well, the apocalypse is fine as long as I have my friends. So,
As long as I have my besties.
I think Westies sounds like a different word than the word you're trying to make it be.
Well, he did say besties, so that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, people do talk about Sam's tits, so.
Cass says that like they have to kill Anna first, and that they need to go back in time to do it because she has gone to 1978 to kill Mary and John. So Dean is like trying to argue that like you need to take us back.
Dean,
But Cass
actually,
is
okay,
like, no.
I'm anti-Dean Anna. Like, immediately upon, just because she wants to kill Sam or whatever. Like, Dean goes like, I don't get it, we're looking for the chick that wants to gank Sam. Like, put some respect on her name. Just because she wants to kill your brother doesn't mean you have to be mean about it. Like, I don't know. I feel like he immediately unpersons her. Like, doesn't he, like, it her later in the episode as well? Or who is it who it's her later in the episode?
I'm not particularly
Okay,
sure.
well, when we get to it, I'll point it out. Which I don't think is in her pronoun set, Dean or whoever said that. So, there.
Dean is like, oh, but they're our parents and we need to like make sure they're fine. And Cass is like, I can't because my powers are weak as fuck. After I got kicked out of heaven, and Dean is like, well, so what, you're like a DeLorean without enough plutonium? And Cass just goes, I don't understand that reference. He's so iconic.
Yeah.
And this is an iconic line, and people have really taken this and ran with it. I think for me, a lot of the iconic cast lines have a little bit less of a like impact,
Yeah.
just because like the oversaturation. Yeah. Like when he was like, no, she's Glenn Close, I thought that was so adorable.
Yeah.
Because like it's the same, it's the same concept pretty much. It's just like a less oversaturated version of that line. But yeah, he does not understand references, and one day he will.
It is interesting that Cass lies to Sam instead of just being like, yeah, like, maybe, but, like, we're not gonna let her kill you or whatever. Like, I guess he's aware of the extent of how much Sam would totally be down with it if it worked. And I guess it never comes up that Cass lied about this? Like, this isn't, like a plot point or anything? No?
No, I think, everyone's aware that it will probably work, or there is a chance it might work. I think Cass's no is more of like, because like the question is like, that's what Anna say makes sense, right? So the no isn't just like, okay, will killing me mean that the apocalypse needs to stop? It has the additional question of, and is that like a good thing? Like, does she have a point with that? You know what I mean?
It is a good
So I feel
thing
like
for the apocalypse to stop. I don't get it.
No, but like Cass's answer of like, no, it's not, has like an additional layer of like, it's not just that it's like it will or will not work for the apocalypse. It's just that it's a bad idea in general.
But,
So like,
okay,
I feel like that's understood
Dean,
in the conversation.
I don't know, Dean characterized Glenn Close as a psycho bitch who likes to boil rabbits, so I feel like she's Glenn Close is like, no, she wants to enact violence for no particular reason and it wouldn't even work, is what I read Cass as communicating, which I think is like a direct lie instead of what you were thinking about.
I thought it was more of like, well, it's a chance we can take, but like, not a chance we should.
Yeah,
kind of
I think
situation.
it could be either.
Yeah, Dean's very insistent. It's our parents we're talking about. So annoying.
So annoying. Yeah. And he goes, if we could set things right, like, set What?
How?
Right? Like, what are you setting right? What are you changing? I mean, I guess he goes in and he tries to tell Mary, like, don't leave your bed, like, on the day that Azazel comes in and blah, blah, blah. Like, didn't you learn your lesson in 403 already? I get not learning your lesson because it's, like, your mommy, but, like, come on, team.
Yeah, and, like, Cass is very insistent that, like, I won't have any powers strong enough to get us all there and then get us all back and all that stuff, but whatever. And then, you know, like, they depower him the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
It does get kind of annoying, I feel like. Like, I didn't really think about it much in the past, but now it's very visible that, like,
they put him in that damn
they
bank
do.
vault.
Yeah, they do depower him every time.
Was the last episode he was in was Abandon All Hope, and, like, they put him in a ring of holy fire for most of the episode. They're in 1978. Cass, like, is collapsed on the ground with a bloody nose. And then Sam says Cass first, and then they both run over to pick him up. But I think Sam's, like, the only one actually touching him, right? Or something. Sam is in front, at least, in terms of the picking Cass up thing. And it's cute.
Yeah.
Sastiel's real. He, like, spits up blood and passes out. And Sam checks his breathing. And apparently what they're going to do is put him in the honeymoon suite at a motel for 5 nights.
Isn't there, like, a gay joke here? No, it's not a gay joke. It's like a we're in the 70s joke.
The 70s joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dean, paid for the honeymoon suite. And the guy's like, okay, do you want some drugs?
Yeah. Yeah, Sam says that they might be stuck in the 1970s if Cass doesn't recover, which would be fun, I think. They should have stayed here for another episode. And Dean says that Cass is tough for a little nerdy dude with wings, which is cute. Sam has found the address of John and Mary. So they go over to that house. They discuss a little about what they're going to talk about or what they're going to tell them. They just aren't particularly sure because it's like, well, I don't think we can tell them about the angel. Well, why don't you use, like, how you previously met her, and she thinks you're a fellow hunter. And Dean goes, just follow my lead.
I do wonder about future Mary, like Mary who gets brought back.
That's true. Is she ever like, hey, like, didn't you time travel and meet me, like, the day my dad died?
Yeah, or, like, you know, maybe she connected the dots or whatever and was like, well, that's something. I feel like that is, like, something that can fuck with your head a bit, right? But, you know, they don't really address it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she forgot.
Yeah, maybe she did. Maybe she is just like me for real and does not remember faces or names. So you're fucked.
Exactly.
We go to the Winchesters. Oh, can you believe they made a fucking spin-off Supernatural? It was so bad.
Yeah, and then the John and Mary actors started dating.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Wow. Love is love.
Good for them.
No, love is a gay tagline, right?
It is.
It is, yeah. Well, love is love. There's nothing more queer heterosexuality than getting together in a supernatural set.
Real.
And then, yeah, like, they're just hanging out. And Sam and Dean ring the bell. So Sam and Dean are just, like, looking at Mary.
Yeah.
And
freaking out.
Yeah, Sam's freaking out. Dean is a little bit more normal about it because, you know, he's seen Mary before. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're talking, and Mary instantly recognizes Dean as, like, the guy who was there when her father died. John shows up. Dean introduces them as Mary's cousins. Like, John is very enthused by this because he has never met Mary's family. So, you know, he goes to shake Sam and Dean's hand, whatever.
Yeah, and Sam has been tearing up for, like, the last minute.
Like, Sam holds on to John's hand for a bit longer than expected. John points out like, oh, your name's Sam. Mary's dad was a Sam. It's a family name.
I don't recall how, like, compared to Dean in 403, like, I feel like Dean was a lot normaler than Sam is right now when he met John and Mary, but I don't. Is that true? Am I twisting things in my mind?
He met John not knowing it was John.
Yeah.
I think it's a different when like.
Well, what about Mary?
You already have a gauge of the person. Well, he was like, well, my mom is hot. I'm going to hell.
Yeah, so, like, he wasn't, like, crying and shaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was instead being like that.
Yeah. I don't know. That does make me emo, that Sam. Like, I guess Sam, because it also, like, Sam knew
Sam never met Mary.
Also that he was going back in time, and that, like, the point was to go and see Mary and John. Like, he was, like, a lot more prepared for this than Dean was. And yeah, he's still
also
so emotional. Yeah. And yeah.
Also, like, Sam never met Mary. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you're 4, you kind of remember that shit. But Sam was 6 months old. Mm-hmm. Do 6 months old even have, like, an eyesight? I think they do. I'm not sure.
Babies can see pretty quickly. But yeah, I guess, sometimes you just don't know, like, the shape of what you're missing, so it hurts so much more when it appears. Sorry, Sam.
Wow. Sorry for saying wow about that. I'm so mean.
Well, it's fine. I will just continue being on this podcast and being disrespected for the rest of my life. I'll be okay.
Okay, that's great. Well, John, like, lets them into the house. Mary is kind of pissed about this.
Yeah, honestly, like, this marriage cannot be good because the whole next scene is Mary so clearly being uncomfortable with Sam and Dean and wanting them to leave. And John, like, every time, like, shutting her down and being like, no, stay. Like, I feel like if you're in a situation like this and, like, your partner has, like, these cousins that, like, she, like, clearly hates and that she wants out, like, this is, like, where you, like, go, like, hey, can we talk alone for a second? And then go, like, what's the history on these guys? Like, what did they do? Like, should I kick them out?
Yeah. And also, like, I feel like once your partner, like, shows discomfort around people that only she has history with, like, it's not you are not supposed to be chummy with those people.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like,
that's
they
like
probably
basic.
did something wrong. Like, get them out of here.
And that's not like, like, even for friends, if your friend is uncomfortable with someone, you're like, okay, we're enemies with this person. What did they do? Like,
exactly.
It's like basic. I don't know. It's basic. So it's quite odd that John was acting this way. John is just so odd this entire episode. I don't think I know I denigrated the acting earlier, but maybe it's also the other things.
Like the writing. Yeah. Could be. Yeah. They just need him to fill a specific role of, like, dumb guy, I think.
Yeah.
I guess the charitable reading of this, or, like, the giving him some depth reading of this, is just that Mary's been really, really secretive about her family, and that has fostered some resentment in him that she's not, like, being vulny with him in the way that he thinks that she should be, and, like, he doesn't remember, like, her parents' deaths very well because of all the supernatural blah, 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 so he is, like, deliberately, like, it's not that he's not noticing her discomfort, he's, like, very deliberately shutting her down because he feels like he wants to know this information and that she's not going to tell him it.
Yeah, I still
don't
think
know
it's
if that's
extremely
how
rude.
it's being played. Oh yeah, it's rude no matter what. It's just about, like,
I mean, it definitely is being played like that.
Is it really? I honestly just
I
thought
think so, yeah.
It was
he's
like,
just stupid.
He's just a dumb, friendly guy. Yeah, it was the vibe that I was getting.
Well, I mean, like, he did say, like, oh, I never meet her folks. So, like, that's, like, a huge implication of why he's like this.
Yeah, I don't know. People could just say things.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah,
Well,
even on television, where every line is deliberately written on Supernatural, people are so often just saying things.
Sam, as they're seated in the living room, is just looking at Mary, like almost crying. And John's like, okay, are you okay? And Sam's like, yeah, you're so beautiful. And Dean goes like, he means that in a non-weird, wholesome family kind of way. Literally, last time Dean was here, he literally did say.
Yeah.
Dean explains that, like, we haven't seen Mary in a while. And she's the spitting image of her mom. Which I did like. I did like that. Like, as an explanation to this, right?
Yeah.
And Dean's like, oh yeah, her dad was like a grandfather to us.
Corny.
And we learned that what John remembers, that it was a heart attack. You know, John starts trying to interview them and they give different answers for everything. And Mary's like, okay, well, let's wrap this up. They need to go. But John goes and picks up the phone, and it's his boss telling him that, like, oh, I'm letting you go off the job. And he's like, no, can I come there and, like, negotiate? And the boss is like, okay, but when we go to, like, the boss, we see that it's Anna. It's so nice. She has changed her voice to accommodate this phone call. So fun. Is it only the voice that they can change? Because it's the only one that they have changed. Like,
well,
from what I can
called
recall.
us Bobby.
Exactly. So, like, it's just
Holiday,
the voice. They can't change their,
they
like,
can't
face.
like shapeshift or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's not their body, so I don't see how they could.
This is true. Yeah. But
Though,
it's also...
I guess it's also like, I don't know if Anna's human body's vocal range is able to go there without some amount of angel magic, actually. So that's a good point. I don't know. I mean, we've never seen them shapeshift, so I guess they can't, but...
So Mary is trying to get Sam and Dean to leave, but, you know, they're insisting that, like, no, you and John are in danger, blah, blah, blah. And it's Dean and Mary who are predominantly talking. And Dean is trying to hide the fact that an angel is trying to get them, but Sam just comes out with it. And yeah, Mary's like, there's no such thing. And Dean's like, well, there are, and they want to kill you, so you need to fucking get out of here. And Mary's like, okay, what do I tell John? And Dean is like, oh, you just go. And then he looks around and realizes John has not come back. And they go to the telephone and they see a note, be back in 15, J.
Yeah, it's so cute. They, like, installed a little hook on the wall right next to the telephone to hang a notepad on.
It's cute. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I assume that this isn't, like, a common thing that existed in houses at the time, but I don't know, maybe it was. But, like...
I think it was, yeah.
Was it really?
Well, because
That's
we have you still have, you don't have a telephone.
No.
We still have a telephone, and, like, you keep, like, a notebook beside.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the hook... Yeah, I don't know if the hook was a common... Like, were houses built so that there was a hook installed next to where the wall phone was in the 1970s, is my question.
I feel like it's incredibly easy to install a hook.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but, like, I don't... It's nicer if it didn't come with the hook because it makes their home feel lived in long enough that one of them was like... It's so annoying how I have to run to get the notebook every time. And the other one was like, okay, well, let's install a hook on the wall. Like, that's cute. It's, like, nice to give their home more of a history. Right. And then, oh, yeah, people like to parallel how Mary says, like, there's no such thing regarding angels with, like, Dean not believing in angels. Right? So, Mary's later, like, angels are watching over you thing. The end of this episode implies that Michael's mind wipe not only erased the memories but gave her like positive feelings about angels. Because I feel like before there was no particular reason she would buy that angel statue.
Yeah.
So,
Which is so fucked, right?
Yeah, that is pretty fucked. Like,
it's a good touch. I think it's a nice touch. That, like,
yeah,
actually Mary's, because it's the thing that
Dean
remembers
about her was, like, something created by Michael. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's so interesting. And, like, it really adds to the theme of the season of, like, you have no control over anything. Even the things that you think are yours are not. Yeah. And I'm sure, like, it gets much, much, much more aggravated in the Cupid episode.
Mm-hmm. They go to the garage where John has headed. And then his boss has been smited to hell and back. His eyes are burnt out. Anna didn't have to do that, but she did because she felt like it. And you know what? I support that.
Exactly.
Like, Cass didn't kill Bobby to steal his voice. As far as I'm aware. I've seen Bobby again.
She just showed up, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, she just showed up, and he was like, why are you here? And she was like, well, I guess instead of putting you to sleep, like, Cass is, like number one thing he did as an angel, so, like, clearly an easy angel power. I'm just gonna murder you. Yeah. Good for her.
It's just, like, I think it's just a way to make us feel like Anna is evil, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
guess I don't appreciate it for that, because then it becomes like a matter of she is only doing this, like, it contributes to the idea that she's only doing this because she's evil, or like she just wants to, instead of like because there is some logic behind it.
Yeah, that's true. Because I guess as an Anna fan, I just immediately read it as like, well, she's like very, very focused on saving the world. So, like, I don't know, like, she's not in full control of her powers. She's just acting on her first instincts, etc. But you're right. I think this is part of the Anna slander that they're attempting. Yeah, I guess we're supposed to think it's bad that she attacks John and Mary. Huh. Yeah, okay. Weird. Anyway.
Yeah, so, like, it literally is just gay sex. Like, what is this?
Yeah, like, that's, like, normal and cool. Like, if you're saying that it's bad that she, like, attacked Mary, like, that's just being homophobic. Like, what happened to all orientations? But, yeah.
Hate happens, yeah.
You know, she could have just killed John.
She literally could have just.
Like, you need two to tango. Like, she didn't have to wait for... I mean, okay, I guess that is why she lured John away, though, right? She, like, I think... Actually, do you think she didn't want to kill Mary?
I think maybe she wants to kill both of them. I think, but, you know what? I'm pretty sure, right? Well, I'm not just pretty sure. I know that Mary is the bloodline of Lucifer.
Okay.
So, like, I think by that logic, you ought to kill Mary. Yeah.
Huh. So, like, did she think she would... Like, John's, like, unaware of things, so she would lure him away as bait was the plan here, then?
I don't know. I think maybe she just wants to kill him, too.
Well, good.
Equality, yeah. Murder is murder.
So true. 2 murders is 1 murder. So she flings him across the room and he attacks her with a crowbar. And then suddenly Dean has appeared and he has an angel blade and they're fighting. Mary picks up the angel blade that Dean has dropped. And she does a fun little
swings it
twirl
around
with it.
Yeah.
And then she and Anna start fighting. And it's well choreographed. It's good stuff. like, she slices Anna's hand, and there's a lot of swinging and things, and then, like, teleporting. And then, like, Anna says, "I'm sorry," before she flings Mary into a car windshield. She didn't apologize to John. So true. Like, yeah, she genuinely is sorry about killing Mary in a way that she's not sorry about killing anybody else. And this is because Anna Mary is real. But yeah, I don't know what.
I think maybe
What is it about? Yeah, maybe she should say it's John. I guess when she was trying to relate to Dean, she was doing the, like, we both have dads who suck thing. So exactly. I guess she really
I was on the side of the road or whatever. That's
she said she was on the road, I think.
Why did I make the side of the road?
I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I think she is aware of, like, John's history of being a terrible dad, so maybe she is taking some pleasure in attacking him and thinking about her own relationship with God in a way that she doesn't feel about attacking Mary. Are there any aspects of Mary that you think Anna would relate to or like that would add to this "I'm sorry"?
What do you think?
One could view Mary trying to run away from the hunting life and be a normal person as sort of akin to
like Anna going away from heaven. Yeah, I can see that.
Also a normal person. And, like, she was cruelly snatched out of that life. And, like, now, like, she's the one encroaching into, like, Mary's apple pie life and killing her because of, like, an unfortunate incident of Mary's birth. So maybe there's something of that here.
Like, as you said, like, it's not like Mary did anything wrong. Yeah. It's just a, fundamental to who you are type of situation. Which does suck.
What you are, but yeah. Mary gets a crowbar, and then she, like, fucking stabs Anna, like, in the shoulder with it, and it goes, like, in by, like, a foot or two. Like, it's crazy. And that was also gay sex. And she like, stares in shock as Anna doesn't die, and then slowly pulls it out of her chest and drops it to the ground, just like Cass in 401. Anna Mary real. She goes, "Sorry, it's not that easy to kill an angel." She's so cool. I'm so sorry that she dies. But no, apparently all of this was an attempt to distract her while Sam set up an angel banishing sigil, and he presses it, and she's gone. Sorry, Anna. As Mary catches her breath, she sees that, like, John has been on the ground watching her in shock the whole time, because clearly, like, she knows how to fight, and she sort of understood the situation in a way that he did not.
Yeah, now they're at the car, and John is driving. Sam and Dean are at the back. Mary
I can't believe John's still driving. John seems too shaken to be driving. But I don't know, maybe it calms him down
man
or
of the
whatever.
house, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I suppose it is fun to see, John and Mary and Sam and Dean in this kind of, like, family car setup. But you know what? Yeah. The Ellen, Joe, Sam, and Dean one was more fun, so who gives a shit? Yeah, and John is mad because Mary didn't tell him this. He's like, oh, so it was like all of you, it's a family thing. And, John's like, okay, how long? And Mary's like, all my life. And Dean's like, she didn't have a choice. And, like, John's like, shut up, everyone. And then yeah,
and, like, he doesn't sound like that. He sounds very, like, firm and, like, angry, and I feel like it's a good moment of, like, oh, like, this is like the John we see later is contained within the John we see now. It's just that the John we see now hasn't been put in the situations that turn him into the John we see later yet.
Yeah. I mean, he was in the military already at this point,
That's
right?
Like, true. God, I forgot about that.
He volunteered for Vietnam already.
Volunteered!
I mean, do we consider that as canon of this show, Supernatural?
Oh,
Or
like,
is it
like,
just
because
like
it's like,
additional bullshit?
I mean, it was already sort of true because of his age, like the way that, like the
Age
years
works. Yeah.
of the
Okay, got
flashbacks
it.
matched up. Like he had to have like done something in order to get in because he wouldn't have been drafted.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
He volunteered. He changed. He lied about his age to volunteer for Vietnam.
My God.
People will do anything.
Do anything. And then, okay, something about this scene, I really like the way that Mary is played during the scene because her primary emotion is annoyed at him. Like, she's like a little bit like apologetic trying to save her marriage thing. But like, she just starts off like really like, yes, yes, yes. And like, I don't know, that's fun to me. Like, your paper doll boyfriend isn't saying his lines. Like, it feels like that.
They end up in like, I don't know, the house of Mary's parents. Sam and Dean are like, yeah, none of those are gonna work because this is an angel.
Oh my God, it's Sam who itted Anna first. He goes, all that stuff will do is piss it off. Sam! Boo!
Wasn't Sam itted before in the past too? By someone.
I mean,
feel
Cass
like we made
itted
a-
Jesse the Antichrist, I feel like is the
Oh
last
yeah,
time
you're
we
right.
brought
And that's
something
just
like
a
that up.
mirror for
Yeah,
Sam
it's
to
a
reflect
Sam
him
mirror.
when he doesn't know who he is or whatever.
Yeah. Right, Dean continues to she her, because he goes, if we put this up and she comes close. Okay. I'm sorry, Dean, for slandering you earlier in this episode. You're fine. I mean, you're not, but you're fine. You're not fine for reasons other than the reason I said.
Exactly. But yeah, they have holy oil, they have sigils, and Mary and Sam like go off or something. But John goes up to Dean and is like, okay, so what is this? Dean is like, oh, it's a sigil, it means. And John's like, I don't care what it means, just where does it go? How big should it be? And Dean's like, nah, I'll do it because it needs to be like human blood. So John picks up a knife and slices his hand. And he's like, okay, so where do I put it? And yeah, Dean is like, wow, like you really remind me of my dad.
Dumb.
Like, this is the part where I was like, this is so annoying. Like, when starting this scene where Dean is like, wow, you really remind me of my dad. And then, like, the entire conversation with John later and Sam is, like, so annoying.
Like, it's not subtle enough, is, like, how you feel about it.
Yeah. Like, we get it, you know?
I'll remember how I felt about those conversations when I read the transcript.
No, like, it just reminds me of how Supernatural is a show that screams its themes and motifs at your face.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes it works. Sometimes it's so horrible, like in this scene.
Yeah. I feel like watching Supernatural has made me worse at watching other shows because I'm like, well, when are they going to tell me the themes and motifs by looking directly at the camera and saying them?
Well, you know, my current hobby is in fact reading various academic articles about the themes and motifs of fucking Much Ado About
Nothing, baby.
And like, it is like sometimes when I watch other shit, I like try to, I don't know, do that kind of whatever.
Yeah, give it the JSTOR treatment.
Yeah, and it's like, this is so stupid. Like, the thing about Supernatural is I feel like it does do well with analysis, right? Like, you gotta think about it a little bit to enjoy it. You know what I mean, right? Like, there's a reason why people on Tumblr keep on fucking talking about it. Because it does hold up to that kind of scrutiny just because of its volume. Because there's so much of it. It's the same reason why...
parallel between things, and it's easy
it's
to
not
make
that it's
any
easy.
argument.
It's not that it's easy, it's that it's impressive because there's so much of it. like, it's the same reason why I think I've told you this, but like having an AMV for a show that is like the length of, say, like Supernatural or like House MD, where it's like 20 plus episodes per season, multiple seasons long, and like 40 plus minutes each, is like it's more impressive to make an AMV out of those kinds of shows versus, say, Good Omens, which is like short and concise and you kind of remember every scene, because it's about like taking stuff from things that you would have not otherwise thought about that way. Or whatever. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And so Supernatural holds up in terms of thinking about it that way, just because of its sheer volume. However, like the per episode of it all, it does get a bit like tedious, just because like every episode is like, here's what we're trying to say, and we'll say it.
John's making the sigil, and then Sam comes up to him to have a conversation. Sam says to John that he's sorry about this, and it's a lot. He reveals that his dad raised him in the hunting life, and John goes, "You're serious? Who the hell does that to a kid?" And
It's so...
you know, do you think it's a bit too much?
It's overwrought.
It is a bit over. It could be the acting, maybe. I don't know what it is. It's probably the writing also, but it's. I feel like it would be like a genuine reaction. But
Yeah.
what evs? Sam reminds him that Mary's parents did. I think, yeah, this is where it gets a little overwrought, where John's like, "What kind of irresponsible bastard lets a child anywhere near? You could have been killed." Like, okay, that part's a little much. But, you know, it is sort of fun to think about in tandem with John's last words being, "Hey, Dean, can you kill Sam for me?"
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess Sam, being someone who knows this, probably feels a little twinge of something about how this John, who doesn't know him, is more concerned about his well-being than the John who he knows later. And then John's like, "The number it must have done on your head. Your father was supposed to protect you." Cringe.
I don't think John believes in psychology. That's my only complaint in this scene.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess a lot of Vietnam vets have PTSD or whatever. John seems... He did have PTSD in the Winchesters. I don't really know what his mental health is like in here. So, I don't know his relationship to psychology.
If we want to, we can analyze this in a, you know, like, John does firmly believe in that your father was supposed to protect you. His father wasn't around. He's projecting in a way, whatever.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So true. But yeah. Anyway. And Sam goes, "He was trying. He died trying. Believe me." He did not die trying to save you,
He died trying to kill you.
He died trying to kill you and trying to save Dean.
He died trying to get your brother to kill you.
Yeah. Sam sits down and he goes like, "I used to be mad at him. I used to hate the guy, but now I get it. He was just doing the best he could." Which has been true, like, of what Sam thinks about John since almost season 2.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, whatever. Like, I guess as a Sam girl, I should be analyzing his later words a bit more, but it does feel overwrought. So he just says that John was trying to keep it together in an impossible situation, and that his mom was the love of his life and she got killed, and I think that's supposed to be like a And there's always been a Sam understands John a little bit more because of Jess thing going on.
Yeah.
So that's that here. And then I think he would have gone crazy if he didn't do something, is what he says next, which we also see in Sam. He says that, John died before he got to tell him that he understands why he did what he did and that he forgives him for what it did to him and Dean. And he goes, I do. And I love him. And John's just sitting there listening to this. And, okay.
Supernatural is kind of a terrible show.
Yeah, it is kind of a terrible show. I don't have a single note down for this scene. Like, I go straight from they're eating Anna now, boo, Mary, your son slept with that angel, to Uriel. That's like
literally
my
Uriel.
notes.
Yeah. As we said, Uriel is here. Because Anna summons him. And it's a different vessel.
Yeah,
or maybe it's the same with younger. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this is meant to be considered the same guy or not.
Yeah, but,
Because, I guess if they were both... Anna said she was stationed on Earth for hundreds of years, or whatever, so it's possible Uriel's had the same vessel for a while.
Yeah, or this is like a relative of that vessel.
Yeah.
I suppose. But I suppose the ages could line up, right? Like, or not really.
What do you
Maybe.
mean?
Like the ages of the can line up. Like this guy
this
can
guy...
have like gotten older to be
okay,
like
well,
the Uriel
what
vessel.
are the ages of the actors?
No, let's not do that. Let's just,
Okay.
like conceptually it can, but it also could just be like the dad or whatever. Uriel is like, you're here. Why are you here? You're not supposed to take vessels. And then realizes that like, oh, you're not Anna from now. And Anna just bluffs and goes like, yeah, but 30 years from now, I'm still your superior. I need you to kill some humans. And Uriel just goes, always happy to do some smiting. Love it.
Girl.
But what's going on? And Anna says, in the future, these people are going to kill you. I love it when girls
fun of her.
lie.
I love it when women who kill Uriel lie.
I'm giving you the chance to kill them first. And Uriel goes, thank you. Love that.
This makes me a little bit sad, though, because he's probably going like, wow, I have such a good boss/friend who cares about me so much she time traveled specifically to save my life. Like,
he's
that's
still
such
dead.
a nice feeling.
And she kills him.
And then she kills him. Actually, okay, Michael didn't wipe Uriel's memory, right? So, like, like, the Uriel that we see
Maybe that's
in, like,
a reason why.
2009, yeah.
Maybe that's the reason why he's so angry at the Winchesters.
Oh, yeah, he's like, the whole time he was like, these people are gonna kill me. Like he knew, or he thought that they would. I don't know. I feel like it would have come up more explicitly if that was the case, but yeah.
Maybe he forgot.
Maybe he forgot. Maybe Michael also wiped his memory, because Heaven's
It's not
really big on memory wipes.
Yeah, it's not a big impossibility that he got taken out back and memory wiped.
Yeah. But yeah. I think it's interesting for his and Anna's relationship if for 30 years he thought that, she was, like, always on his side, and then like the next time he sees her in like this vessel, he's like, oh, like you turned human, like you betrayed us, like you had betrayed us when you told me that. What the fuck is going on?
So yeah, Mary and Dean are now having a conversation, and Mary is now demanding to know why an angel is after them, and Dean is very cagey about it, and Mary very insistent. And Dean just finally relents and goes, "I'm your son." And Mary's like, "What?" And yeah, Dean's like, "We're from 2010. Angel slapped us back here. Not the one that attacked you. Friendlier." Love that. Yeah, he introduces himself as Dean and Sam Winchester. No, not himself. He introduces him and Sam as Dean and Sam Winchester, named after Mary's parents. He starts doing this thing where, like, when I would get sick, you'd make me tomato rice soup. That's what your mom made. And you would sing me "Hey Jude" as a lullaby because that's your favorite Beatles song. I do think sometimes about that scene in season 10 when Dean was a demon and he was in front of a piano and he plays the beginning notes of "Hey Jude." Whatever. I think, like, I prefer those kinds of moments, where it's like small,
Subtler.
not like
Yeah.
yeah. But I suppose that only works because we know it here that, like, "Hey Jude" is their song. This is what I mean where, like, this episode is like central, pivotal, and supernatural. It's just on its own, it's like so
Yeah.
well, but like what you get from it in other episodes and other scenes is pretty nice.
Yeah. Also, "Hey Jude" is everybody's song. Like,
Favorite
couldn't they
song
have
from the
picked something a
Beatles?
little more obscure?
Yeah. What is your favorite Beatles song? Choose.
Oh.
If it's not obscure enough, I'll take you out back and shoot you.
I don't listen to the Beatles.
Well, that's your fault.
What's your favorite Beatles song?
I really like "Something" by the Beatles. You know that?
If I look at the lyrics, I might know if I
It's
know
like
it.
something in the way she moves, and there like no other lover. I don't want to
think
leave
I
her
know.
now. I believe in how. Whatever.
Well,
The Beatles is not that
congrats.
good, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's only good when it's in the soundtrack of Taking Over the Asylum, and then it's like all music is wonderful.
And Mary just looks disbelievingly and says, "I raised my kids to be hunters."
And she's crying with her big wet
Yeah.
sad doe eyes, and it did get to me.
Yeah, and her wonderful, wavy, blown out hair. Love her hair.
Yes.
Is this a wig or is this just like this
I feel
actress's
like you
hair?
asked this during 403.
Did I also? I just think it's so wonderful. Dean is like, "No, you didn't. You didn't raise us as hunters." And she's like, "How could I have done it?" And she said, "No, you wouldn't because you'd be dead." And the yellow-eyed demon would kill you. He says, like, John becomes a hunter to get revenge. And he says, a demon comes into Sam's nursery exactly 6 months after he's born. November 2nd, 1983. Remember the date. And whatever you do, do not go in there. You wake up that morning and you take Sam and you run. And Sam comes in, like, literally struts into the room. And he goes, "That's not good enough, dude." And yeah.
Real.
And this whole time, I did feel a little bit emo because Mary is like so obviously like stricken and shocked and upset by all this. And yeah, Sam goes like, wherever she goes, the demon's gonna find her and me. And Sam's like, "Well, just leave Dad." So true. That's what you
So
got.
true.
Yeah, you leave John. Yeah, Sam's like, "When this is all over, walk away. Don't look back." And they're never gonna be
Just
born.
use a condom. There's a lot of options here.
Yeah. Dina's like, "You have no other choice." I mean, I would prefer not being born versus dying. Okay, fine.
Yeah, he says there's a big difference between dying and never being born, which is true in terms of like abortion, but is not true in terms of like this time travel adult self situation.
Yeah, because like Dean already exists. Like Dean is already a grown adult person.
Yeah, like
So,
literally,
like-
what is the actual functional difference between like you
Him
two like,
dying
killing
now.
yourself like right here versus
Yeah.
like Mary leaving John.
Yeah, I don't know. No idea.
Like,
And then,
I mean, okay, I guess it's different for Mary because she would still be alive. So maybe is that what he's talking about? But he's just talking about himself is the thing. Like, it is different in terms of like what Mary and John's lives will be like, but like it's not
if he
different
killed himself
in terms of what's happening
now,
with Sam and Dean.
Mary would still be alive. I don't know. It's so, yeah. But Sam is like, no, you have to do it. You have to do it. And Mary just goes, I can't. No, I can't. Because she's pregnant already.
I love when Supernatural forgets about abortion. In Metamorphosis, like they also killed, well, that hunter, whatever his name was, like killed that, like Jack's wife because she was pregnant with like a to-be, were they Rougarous in that episode? But yeah.
I'm not sure, yeah.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, it's very funny when Supernatural just like steadfastly refuses to like address abortion as being a thing until of course we get to season 12, which is about chasing a Republican across the US begging her to get an abortion.
And then she didn't.
I mean, wasn't she like, she was going to, and then Jack was like, no, mommy, please don't. And he was like, Cass, you'll be really hot and shirtless, and Dean's gonna be kneeling before you.
John comes in, which shuts everyone up, and says that all the sigils have been like wiped, and also there's no holy oil left. And suddenly they hear this really, high-pitched noise, shattering stuff. And then we get our fucking fight scene that is honestly so tedious. Did you also feel this way?
I mean, we had like our good fight scene in the garage, and now we just have the whatever fight scene. But
basically, like, I don't know, Uriel's there, Anna's there, and John gets
Uriel's
thrown the
entrance
fuck out of the
I enjoyed Uriel's dramatic entrance where he shatters all the windows and like he used the wind to like blow the door open. Like,
love it.
It's fun of him. Like, I think he does all this because he likes to prove how much better he is than humans. Like, he was probably like screaming and crying so much about only being able to stand near the window and turn around in 407 because Cass was already talking to them. Honestly, it should have been Uriel in 401. Like, he would have had so much fun with pulling that knife out of himself. Sad.
Exactly. Anna also blasts John out of the house. So he's like in the yard. Sam gets stabbed, right? Like, mortally.
Yeah,
he's
like,
dead.
Dead. He dies.
R.I.P. Anna is turning to Mary, and she goes, I'm really sorry. Aww. And then John is behind her and says, Anna. But, he has a different cadence. And Anna turns around and goes, Michael. And this entire, like, sequence, I really wasn't paying attention at all. And then this happens, and I was like, oh my God, it's Michael. And I was at the edge of my seat, honestly. Michael puts his hand on Anna's shoulder, and she just dies. She bursts into internal flames, and she's dead.
Yeah, it's a pretty graphic death. Like, we really see the burning process.
It's pretty cool. I liked it.
It's a fun effect. Yeah. They did well with the CGI.
And Uriel is standing in the corner going
Anna.
like,
Sorry,
Michael. I know. And Michael snaps him out of there. Yeah, you're right, by the way. Like, this is the last we see of Anna.
Yeah.
Sorry, girl.
Sorry.
Mary asks, like, what did you do to John? And Michael's like, no, he's fine. Don't worry about it. He makes her collapse on the ground and, like, probably also erases her memories at this point. Dean tells Michael, fix Sam, who is dead on the floor. Michael's like, well, I told your dad that I could save his wife, and he said yes. And Dean's like, wait, I thought I was the only one. Like, I thought I was your one only vessel. And Michael's like, no, you're my true vessel, but not my only one. It's a bloodline. And he says that it's from Cain and Abel, your father's blood, your family's blood. It's all there. And yeah, Dean says, what do you want from me? Because obviously I'm not going to say yes, so why are you here? And Michael says, I just want to understand. I just want you to understand what you and I have to do. And Dean goes, okay, I get it. You have beef with your brother. Why don't you fucking go to therapy? Don't take it out on my planet. And
bold words from Dean Winchester.
Exactly. Michael says, no, like, Lucifer, the fighter father, betrayed me, but still, I don't want to do this. Just as you don't want to kill Sam. And he goes, my brother, I practically erased him.
You were on the road too. Like, okay.
Not only were they on the road, they were on the side of the road as well. Yeah, I took care of him in ways most people could never understand. You're literally an archangel.
Like, no, you didn't. You're an angel. Like, he was not eating SpaghettiOs. Like, you did not open cereal boxes for him. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
And he goes, I still love him, but I am going to kill him because it's right and I have to. And I really like this next sequence of lines because of Michael's absolute no hesitation. Mm-hmm. Like, he answers every line like it's the obvious answer.
Yeah.
Instantly.
No internal conflict.
Yeah, no conflict whatsoever. And Dean goes, oh, you're doing it because God says so. And Michael goes, yes. And from the beginning, this is how he intended it to go. And Dean's like, oh, so you're just going to do whatever God says. And Michael's like, yeah, because I'm a good son. And yeah, Dean goes, well, trust me, take it from someone who knows that it's a dead-end street.
Boo. Sorry, I feel like Dean, like, does a face after I am a good son that I think is, like, pretty good. But then, like, I think to follow that up immediately with, like, and we're parallels out loud is just too much.
Yeah. And Michael says, well, you think you know better than my father. One unimportant little man. What makes you think you get to choose? And Dean answers this in a way that I think is so stupid. Like him being like, I don't actually believe I get to choose, but I have to because I have to. Like, it's so like, shut the fuck. This is not something you're supposed to be telling Michael. I understand that this is how he thinks of it, but like, you should not be volunteering this information to Michael, you know?
Mm.
But Michael's like, no, you're wrong. You know how I know? And then he goes, think of everything that has ever happened to get you in this moment, to get your parents where they are, blah, blah, blah. You think those are all like by chance? No. Free will is an illusion, Dean. That's why you're going to say yes. And Dean is like upset. And Michael goes, oh, buck up. Don't kill yourself. Just like Aziraphale. Michael says, it could be worse. I'm not going to leave you like a drooling mess like my brothers when I'm done wearing you. And Dean asks what will happen to John right now. And Michael's like, better than you. And in fact, I'm going to do your mom and dad a favor, which is I'm going to remove their memories so they don't remember this at all. And, I'm just giving your mom what she wants. And Dean goes, she's gonna walk right into that nursery. Max says, obviously. Just like a serial. Anyway, Michael goes to Sam, transports him back to present times, and he's fine. And he goes up to Dean, and he goes, I'll see you soon, and zaps Dean to the future, to the present.
We're to the motel room. Sam is in front of a mirror and he looks into it and Cass is behind him. So true. Sassy Ellers, reclaim the 503 scene for yourself.
Yeah. Did they also do a season 8 where Dean's in the mirror and Cass shows up.
Mm.
So it's 2v1.
That was
So sorry,
Castiel fighting
Castielers.
back.
Yeah. Fight back,
So
as they
Sam
say.
goes, Castiel, and then he turns around.
He
and-
also pronounces it weird again. Well,
Does
he always pronounces
really?
it
I
kind
didn't
of
make
weird.
a note of that one this time.
How should one pronounce Castiel? Is it Castiel? Castiel?
Like, how does Sam do it?
Sam pronounces it Castiel. That's proper,
so
right?
He goes like Castiel sometimes instead of Castiel. Like, I feel like he puts the emphasis on the first syllable instead of the last one sometimes.
No, I was just saying, like, Cass is, like, falling on the ground and Sam and Dean hold him up.
Yeah, but Sam holds him up first.
Love that. Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess, okay, this is, like, Sam did die for real. This is his second being brought back to life.
Yeah.
And, I mean, okay, Lucifer already said, like, if you, like, die, then I'll just bring you back to life. But, like, instead it's Michael who does that. Is that anything?
Yeah. I did think that was fun. That, like,
like, and
even...
it's upon Dean's urging as well. Though I think Michael was going to either way because of the plan.
Yeah.
Sam doesn't really get to process this at all.
Yeah, there's no processing whatsoever this
unfortunate.
episode.
Yeah, because I know in season, 12 or 13, like, Lucifer brings Sam back to life, and Sam's, like, really upset about it.
Yeah.
So, like, there is this pattern of Sam being brought back to life, like, against his will. I don't think this time was against his will, but it is very similar to, like, something that Lucifer threatened him with. And, like, I wish he had some feelings about it that he could express.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered how, like, even though their minds are wiped, like, John's gonna, like, wake up the next day and it's like, your boss was, like, burnt. Like, his eyes were burnt out on the floor of the garage. And there's, like, a record of him calling you last night. Like, what?
Exactly.
But yeah, whatever. Supernatural's just not very good at, like, cleaning up. Or I guess one can assume that Michael.
Well, it was the
cleaned that up,
70s.
too. That's true. People just got murdered and it didn't matter.
People just got murdered. There were no CCTVs whatsoever.
Yeah, so they're both holding up Cass. And Dean goes, "You son of a bitch, you made it." And Cass goes, I did? I'm very surprised. And then he passes out again. He's so cute. So they put him over on the bed. Sam and Dean have some drinks, and then Dean says, "Team Free Will, one ex-blood junkie, one dropout with $6 to his name, and Mr. Comatose over there." Interesting descriptors. Like, none of these are, like,
fundamental
like,
to who they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the demon blood drinking is pretty important to Sam, but, like, I don't see how Dean... Okay, like, first, both you and Sam have $6 to your name. You, like, share, like, a wallet or whatever.
Yeah, but instead of being, but Sam is a college dropout, so that's a different thing. No, but they're both dropouts. Dean doesn't say high school dropout or anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them dropped out. Like, nothing Dean says is specific to
unique
himself.
to himself. Yeah.
I don't
Well,
get
maybe
it.
Sam has $8 today. Who knows?
So
he got
true.
a deal with his salad that Dean didn't get on his burger.
Yeah, perhaps so. Yeah, I don't know, but Dean also brings up, the GD and the give him hell attitude, like, in, was it 501?
Yeah.
So, like,
maybe it does matter to him, like,
yeah, maybe this is something that he thinks about a lot.
as part
like,
of himself.
his education level. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Sam goes, "Not funny."
And he goes,
Yes.
"I'm not laughing."
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. They talk a bit about how you know, both Lucifer and Michael have maintained that they're gonna say yes to being those vessels. And Sam asks, what if they're right? And Dean goes, they're not. And Sam goes, I mean, why would we, either of us? But I've been weak before. Which, sad way to put it. Sam goes, Michael got Dad to say yes. And Dean's like, well, that's because Anna was about to kill Mom. Uriel was there also. Then Sam goes, and if you could save Mom, what would you say? Honestly, I feel like this is sort of a dumb conversation to have because they pulled out all the stops in 501 already. Like, Zachariah was already, like, choking Sam to death on the floor and giving Dean cancer and being like, just say yes. And then it'll stop, right? Like, they've already done the, like, say yes to save someone's life under duress test.
It's not like John also knew the implications of what he's doing, which Sam and Dean are fully aware of, you know?
Yeah.
Like, to John, this is just like someone who shows up and be like, I can save your wife.
Yeah.
And that seems like an easy
knows
exchange.
That Anna is like an angel as well and isn't very nicey, so I guess he was taking a risk.
A chance. But it could also be like, oh, here's an angel that can help us defeat an angel who is very difficult to defeat.
Yeah, because I guess he knows, like, probably Dean already communicated, like, there's a nice angel who helped zap us to this time period. Well, yeah, actually, well, oh wait,
no, he
Dean
doesn't.
No, because Dean only talks to Mary about that, and John still doesn't know that Sam and Dean are his children. But then, yes. Okay, then yeah,
but it's just
really
a completely
didn't know
different
much.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, a couple months later in the past, Mary is very, pregnant. And her and John are looking over a crib, looking at a little statue. We don't see it at first. They're just talking about how, like, Mary got it at a garage sale and it's super cheap. And John's like, it's a bit corny. It's a bit cheesy. And Mary's like, no, I think it's sweet. And they show the angel. And Mary's like, no, I like it. And John's like, okay, well, then I love it. And it's just Mary now. John goes off. And Mary's like, talking to her belly, saying that, like, oh, it's okay. Angels are watching over you. And that's how the episode ends. I did like
Pretty
this.
Fun.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
What did we think about this episode?
I mean, I'm in a good mood right now, so I'm like, I feel like I want to say it's good, but it's also because we spent like half of this recording time talking about other TV shows that I like more.
Yeah.
So
no, I actually do think I really do like this episode. But like, it's one of those episodes where it's essential. Like, we need it in the show.
Yeah.
It's just not that enjoyable watching it, but like, it does add value. It does add meaning to everything. And I appreciate that. And I also really did like the Michael
Mary
part. Like, I really, really did like it. Yeah. So, we're going to go stats, right? Or best line, worst line. We do best line, worst line. Damn, I completely...
I do like the ending of Angels Are Watching Over You.
Mm-hmm. I think I like when... Well, first of all, I dislike when everything that John says in the Sam and John conversation. I thought it was so annoying.
Yeah.
I like Michael's responses to Dean when Dean was like, oh, so you're just going to do it because God said? And Michael's like, yes. Like, it's not even about the line. It's, as I've said, about the delivery of it all. Like, there's absolutely no question in Michael's mind. And yeah, it's like an automatic, and I really appreciate that. I think it's wonderful characterization on Michael's behalf.
Yeah.
What's your worst line?
It's kind of cringe of Sam to say that he loved his dad. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit overwrought.
It
Like,
was.
Sam was not he was not thinking about John. He was thinking about the John during the real Ghostbusters who ended his message about the fucking scavenger hunt with "I love you."
Literally. Here's a gift card to $50 or whatever. I love you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, stats. Let's do the spreadsheets.
Okay.
So misogyny this episode.
Anna died, so
Anna
we do have
dies.
to evaluate her entire character arc within this
because
episode.
we do that every time a character dies. We do the entire arc. So I think they really did misogyny. Like the thing is, like her character is like not treated with misogyny internally in the show. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like 17 and blah blah blah. But like externally, she is misogyny victim number 1. Or I guess number 3, because Mary and Jess really do take a lot of those upper numbers. But like it's quite mind-boggling. I don't know. I think I would give her character a misogyny of 3.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice enough balance because like I do think she's a well-written character and like her character is not bogged down to like she's not bogged down to like a woman, you know?
Yes.
It's just also that they
kept trying to write her out because the fans didn't want her and they just wanted a man character to take her role.
I feel like it is irresponsible in a different way to put forward a female character in your show that is notoriously where the fan base is like misogynistic to like write a female character and then not back her up. Like somehow that feels even worse, you know? Because now you can say like, oh, we tried, the audience didn't. Well, you didn't try. You like you tried, but like you didn't commit to the bit. And I feel like you know, like because there is a way to continue writing her and there is a way to insist, you know, to your audience like, no, we're doing this. But they didn't. And I feel like I don't like that. Well, racism.
I don't recall
Yeah, I don't recall as well. Homophobia?
Yeah, I don't recall. Well,
We have ratings. Okay, so what do you think this episode is?
high.
rating-wise? I would assume high as well. You guessed first, right? That's our thing.
Yeah, that's me, and that's why I'm failing so badly. Okay. How high? I think it's 9 or above, but like how above?
Okay.
Okay. Actually, well, okay, the end only made it to a 9.1. I think people might... Well, Changing Channels made it to a 9.6. Who even knows what the world is? So, okay. Okay, I'm gonna say 9.1, whatever.
I'm going to go actually for an 8.8. Okay. Nice, even number. Very round.
Yeah. Very
I feel like 8.8 is like something that you don't usually guess. Like for me at least, just because it's too nice. Like it sounds too nice of a number. Like it sounds fake.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah.
The IMDb rating for this episode is it's a 9.0.
Oh,
You're closer.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Good
okay, let's
for
look
me.
at the reviews. This one says, I know this episode didn't push the storyline any further and didn't provide any new answers, making it somehow naive and pointless. I have the exact opposite perspective on this episode, but okay.
Michael's motivations are like important to the season.
Yeah. And also like this is the first time we see Michael, which I think is rather important.
Yeah, that seems like a big deal. He's sort of like a major enemy.
The person is still
one.
saying that like they did love it, like they did love the episode. even though it didn't matter.
Wait, they said, and I like to see Michael again. Okay, sorry. I think they meant, and I would like to see Michael again, but I thought that because of the tense they used, they were like, they thought that they'd seen him already. But yeah, whatever.
Oh, no! I was utterly happy when Cass announced that he and Sam were friends. Oh no, and I did my happy dance when Michael killed Anna. I never liked her and I'm glad she's gone.
Well, I hope you're gone from the IMDb reviews in all future episodes of Supernatural. No, the last one they reviewed was the girl with the Dungeons and Dragons tattoo. They've been around for a while.
Everybody fucking loves the dream sequence.
What?
This is like the second review. Okay, not everybody, but like this is the second review. Okay, I'll see.
At least this person likes Anna.
Oh, this one is so sweet. This is from 2021, right? It's hard to write anything about this show without first stating that my wife and I never watched an episode while it was on air. We waited and streamed it. Now we watch it every Friday from 6 p.m. until we fall asleep. We have streamed all 15 seasons and are now on our second time through. We have fallen in love with this show. Dean, Sam, Bobby. Fantastic characters and awesome stories and storylines. I'm sure we will continue watching it no matter where it is.
That is sweet, and I won't say anything else because I'm trying to be a better person. I've decided suddenly.
That's so sweet, though. Yeah. In the future, when I am happily married, I will lie to my wife and be like, I've never seen this show. Maybe we should watch it every Friday from 6 p.m. until we fall asleep.
And your wife will go, I'm rethinking this marriage thing.
Yeah.
Even though we fought so hard to make it legal.
Every Sunday? What do you do every Sunday when you disappear for like 4 hours and talk on your bedroom with someone with a mic on you? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you cheating on me, Greg?
Yeah. People are generally like, yeah.
Okay, several people are saying that they don't like just time travel being part of the show.
I don't think people are endeared by Cass this episode, which I understand. He's barely
here.
I think in season 5, honestly, like especially up until this part, it's like Cass is like kind of like a whatever character, just because they keep on depowering him. Yeah. He's here for convenience for plot. Like, it wasn't it episode 7 last season? We get like Cass talking about his feelings with Great Pumpkin, right? That's episode 7. That's episode 7. It's episode 13 now, and I feel like we still haven't gotten anything from Cass. Although next episode is My Bloody Valentine, and I feel like that will give Cass something to do. And Cass will continue to have things to do in future episodes. Well,
good.
That's it.
Him.
That's it for this episode of Best Asian Beauties. Next week, I hope we will be talking about My Bloody Valentine Season 5, Episode 14. Leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts.
Follow us on social media. We are on Tumblr at bustyasianbeautiespod.tumblr.com. Our official tag is BABPOD, BABPOD. Thanks to everyone who's donated to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/bustyasianbeautiespod, which is where our probably really long this episode outtakes live. And check out our merch at babpod.redbubble.com.
You can email us any feedback, comments, or inquiries at bustyasianbeautiespod@gmail.com. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.